Yes, good afternoon and welcome to Croke Park. Atmosphere really building here for this 2004 Leinster Football Final, and it's been all about these two men, one of them Paddy O'Shea, and there they are, coming together to wish each other luck. They know each other so well. Both of them very relaxed at the press conference launching the Leinster Final during the week. Paddy saying that everything he knew about football he learned from that man, and the familiar figure of Mick O'Dwyer with the programme in his hand.
Yes, very brief comment from our panel then ahead of this Leinster Football Final. Colin O'Rourke, Joe Brolly, who's going to win this one, guys?
Well, I think that's the scene of the day, you know, Paddy and Mick O'Dwyer. Mick O'Dwyer is the most amazing man I think I have ever seen in terms of Gaelic football. His commitment and the exuberance that he has given this Laois team. I think they're a very, very good footballing team. I think we're going to see a right good game of football. Westmeath have done very well to get there, but I think Laois have better footballers, and it's going to be, you know, Mayo had the better players, and I think Laois have the better individual players here. For me, Laois to win.
Yes, I mean, I think that Westmeath will play like tigers. They've done that all season, and they've clearly been inspired and played above themselves. But Laois have a better structure, they've got better forwards, and you would have to think over the course of the 70 minutes that Laois will prevail.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Over then to Dara again and Kevin McStay.
OK, Michael. Well, the players just going through the pre-match formalities, and I'm sure the nerves really at them. Westmeath here for the first time since '49. Laois know about this from last year. Mick O'Dwyer going with the team which accounted for Meath in the Leinster semi. A couple of positional switches. Pádraig Clancy is restored to midfield, where he resumes his successful partnership with Noel Garvin. Kevin Fitzpatrick, who struggled in the semi-final, moves to left corner forward. Chris Conway is left half forward. Brian MacDonald in the centre. Now, the Westmeath team, they were delighted to be able to name Rory O'Connell on the bench for this final after he was cleared to play in the High Court during the week. Paddy O'Shea keeps with the midfield partnership, which has got the team here. Gary Dolan and David O'Shaughnessy. There's just one change from the win over Wexford. Fergal Wilson is recalled to the 15 in place of David Mitchell, who's on the bench. There's Colin Parkinson, one of the great characters of Gaelic football these days, never shy with a comment, never afraid to say what he feels and what he means, and he has such a big part to play for Laois here today. Kevin McStay here with me. Kevin, it's a great occasion, around 50,000 people here, and we hope it'll be a great game.
Yeah, it's a fantastic occasion, Dara. You know, there really should be a rule that lets all these teams that haven't contested provincial final, let them get through every 10 years and make sure we move this spectacle around. It's fantastic scene here, absolutely superb, and we're looking forward so much now to an excellent Leinster final.
Well, there is the scene here at Croke Park. Tickets were snapped up in both counties within hours of going on sale earlier this week. Chris Conway, the Laois captain, just moving out a shot there. Great colour, great noise, and the atmosphere has been building here all day. Dennis Glennon, the Westmeath full forward, he's been a real find for them this year. And they're back again. Joe Higgins bringing the family once more. Remember him getting into trouble for that last year.
Not sure that it's Joe this time, Dara, but great to see it. I understand it's been allowed back on the field and proper orders, so well done to Joe Higgins last year. He's broke the mould and the mascots are back.
Well, whoever that young man is, he'll remember it for a long time, standing beside Colin Byrne. He looks like a Higgins, the Higgins twins, of course. But already the day has started well for Laois. They won their 7th minor title, beating Kildare by 10 points to 6. Whatever happens, it's already been a great year for Westmeath, but they've come this far, beating the same teams, Offaly, Westmeath and Wexford, that Laois beat on their way to the Leinster final last year. Not in the same order, but some people a little bit superstitious about that and thought that was a good omen for Westmeath today. But a chance to make history also for Laois, chance for them to win back-to-back titles for the first time since the 30s.
Yeah, and remember, Dara, you know, we're all giving Laois the favourites tag, and if you're really cold about it, clinical, you'd have to say it's only on 20 minutes of a performance against a Meath team that we now know to be well off the pace. Now contrast that with Westmeath and look at the scouts they've taken, you know, and they have played here, they'll be quite comfortable. Laois have had a poor league. You'd have to say the championship is a slow burner for them, no matter what way you look at it, and I fancy Westmeath are really going to stick it into them, and they're going to have highlighted, you know, the matchups. I said this to you earlier, that they're going to have to win. If they do win those, well, they're going to have a great chance.
Getting the full tour of Croke Park, and the players able to sample the atmosphere. Do you enjoy that sort of thing, Kevin, when you're down there? Do you even notice what's going on around you?
Well, you do enjoy it, like no matter what you say, and you are aware of it, because you know there's family up there. You're trying to focus on the job ahead, especially for the Westmeath lads, because this is all new to them. Laois have done it last year, but remember, Laois showed that it can be done after a long gap. They did it last year. There is no reason that Westmeath won't take inspiration from that, and today may well be their day. But I think Paddy has such experience, Dara, of this scene, that he'll have them well tuned up, and they're used to Croke Park.
They most certainly are, having beaten Offaly and Dublin and then Wexford in the Leinster semi-final. In the past they've been used to the setting as well, but not always winning here. Have been close to success over the years. A number of super managers have taken them a long way, but Paddy O'Shea, having taken over late last year, has led them to the 2004 Leinster Football Final, and he's facing, as one of the papers put it, his old master, Mick O'Dwyer, and Paddy O'Shea coming face to face again. Now, we pause for Aaron Navian. Croke Park. The conditions close to perfect here. It's overcast enough above us in North Dublin. The sun just starting to creep out. It was a lovely morning here. We had a few drops of rain, but the conditions really nice. Pat McEnany from Monaghan, who took charge of Laois and Meath in the Leinster football semi-final. He is the man in the middle for this Leinster final. Very little wind to speak about, hardly any, and we just watch for some crucial switches as the game is due to get underway. Paddy and Micko, they went head-to-head in the 98 All-Ireland semi-final. O'Dwyer's Kildare won against Kerry that day. Who will it be today? Will it be Westmeath for the first time ever, or Laois again?
Well, Dara, John Kane has gone straight to full-back. He's picking up Parkinson. Donald Donoghu's got to the right corner. So there's moves already before the ball is even thrown in. And we'll keep an eye on them because they're most interesting. In fact, Donald Donoghu has now gone centre-back. So straight away, full-back out. And we've a corner man marking Colin Parkinson.
And the 2004 Leinster Senior Football Final underway. Gary Dolan getting involved straight away. Here's Dennis Glennon, a very mobile full forward. Darren Rooney halting the attack, but then Dolan is fouled. Indeed, it was Fergal Wilson who was challenged high. Colin Byrne moving back to his full-back position. So Wilson looking for the first point of this final. Oh, he's got it as well. An absolute peach of a point for Fergal Wilson of Westmeath, the man brought into the team today for David Mitchell. Just his second point of the championship. They say he's been struggling for confidence. It'll be sky high now.
Yeah, and Fergal Wilson is a very good ball player, Dara. He's a lovely striker of the ball, and that's a great start for Westmeath. And listen to the crowd.
There's been a great buzz around this place all afternoon. Noel Garvin couldn't hang on to it. We expected Kevin Fitzpatrick to come out around midfield, and that is where he is. Ian Fitzgerald unable to keep that in play. It's James Davitt who's marking him. Donald Donoghue, and Donoghue caught in possession by Fitzpatrick, and then Davitt comes back in for Westmeath. Here's Parkinson. Just panicked a little bit. Chris Conway trying to retrieve it for Laois. Unable to do it. And there's Donoghue. One of the finds of the year, really, for Westmeath. Leads from the back, and they have the free.
A lot of early nerves there, Dara. The ball has been thrown around like a hot bun there. Just nobody wanted to hold on to it on both sides, giving it over and back. But I'm sure they'll settle shortly.
Now Desi, been picked up by Aidan Fennelly. Ross Munnelly. Super game against Meath in the semi-final. Kevin Fitzpatrick. Now Colin Parkinson making his move. John Keane with him. Parkinson had the jersey pulled. Looking for options. Conway to Pádraig Clancy. Never seems to score an ordinary point. They're always spectacular. Here's Bino McDonald trying to curl it in, and he's done it. That's a great score. Bino McDonald with the first point of the game for Laois. His cousin Donald Brennan won a Leinster Minor medal short time ago.
Yeah, and what I admire here, Dara, is that they've been patient, they've thrown the ball around, and when Bino gets it, now that's the sort of room that Paddy will be going bananas about, because Bino has to be closed down. He's just too good. You can't give him that sort of space.
Clancy punching it down. Ross Munnelly. Noel Garvin. Laois getting into their stride. But Garvin has put that one wide. Hasn't scored for them in the championship so far. And Westmeath are under pressure here. Chris Conway marking his slack. Ross Munnelly takes his point. No real pressure on Ross Munnelly there. It was a comfortable score. The marking. Westmeath have those nerves, Kevin.
Yeah, that's it's really to do, I would say, with what appears to be early nerves. When you find defenders so far off attackers early on, they're trying to find their bearings, they're trying to pick up their men, and the early movement is just losing them. They just haven't come to terms with the sort of movement Laois are presenting there yet.
Super kick from Gary Connaughton. It was Brian Morley who went after it for Westmeath. Derek Heaven. Paul Conway. Dennis Glennon. Colin Byrne is the Laois fullback. Glennon doing well. Conway. Alan Mangan. Real star against Wexford. Here's Des Dolan. Always seems to star for them. Dolan pulling it back across. Morley underneath it. Clancy there too. Brilliant from Pádraig Clancy. Well, the two managers said if the players wanted to go and catch the ball around the middle, they'd do it. Clancy getting back and helping the defence. Here's Noel Garvin. Garvin over the head of Parkinson and John Keane. Line ball Westmeath.
I see Tommaso Florida down there. He's been in after John Keane. He said, John, tighter.
Michael Ennis. Didn't work out for him, but it's worked for Westmeath with Donald O'Donoghue. Loves to get forward. Maybe he should stay back after a pass like that. Munnelly. Darren Rooney, the Laois dual star, really has come on. Here's Tom Kelly getting forward. Kelly takes the shoulder from Donald O'Donoghue. Chris Conway. Look at the space. The marking is just not up to it from Westmeath. Now they close down Fitzpatrick, but he goes back. And Laois are into their stride already, leading by 3 points to 1. Another very good score.
Yeah, they're just not afraid to hold on to the ball till they get the extra man, Dara, and they're throwing it around nicely, because any team coached by Mick O'Dwyer will be very comfortable with the ball in their hand, and their hand passing routine. Another good score.
David O'Shaughnessy, the Westmeath captain. Pádraig Clancy going with him. That's out for Alan Mangan. Been marked by Joe Higgins. Paul McDonald back to Higgins again. Aidan Fennelly. Ross Munnelly coming off his wing. Here's Bina McDonald. Lifting it forward. Only Parkinson ahead of him. Parkinson was out in front of John Keane, but Keane really battling hard with Colin Parkinson.
Yeah, and this is good defending. I mean, these boys are going to have a ding-dong all day. Parkinson's trying hard, Kane's trying hard.
And Ross Munnelly is coming across to take the Laois line ball. Leading by 3 points to 1. Certainly suits the left-footed kicker. But it's tricky. A real hush around the stadium. Munnelly stealing a few yards, and he hasn't caught that one. Second wide for Laois.
That's a poor wide, Darragh, because you know the golden rule when you're shooting, you cannot put it wide on the shooter's side. You have to bring it across the goal at a minimum to have people contest it if it's not going to reach it, or you've got to curl it in from the far post. Now, Ross, that's poor from Ross Munnelly. I'd have expected a bit better from him.
So would Miko.
More importantly.
A lot to think about early on for Paddy O'Shea. Laois converting 3 out of the 5 chances they've created.
Westmeath just haven't settled, Darragh, really. You know, that's it. So we can't just say what sort of a tempo this match is going to have or what sort of a shape it's going to have.
Here's Ian Fitzgerald. Laois certainly have settled. Fitzgerald took too many steps though. Dropped into the arms of Gary Connaughton anyway, but Pat McEnany on it and penalising Ian Fitzgerald. David O'Shaughnessy with the free. Glennon moving over to this side. He really is moving Colin Byrne, the Laois fullback, out, and Glennon's pace has beaten the Laois fullback. Glennon's still there. Here's Des Dolan. Has more support. Dolan blocked down by Darren Rooney. Great skill. Pádraig Clancy.
Right.
Kevin Fitzpatrick. Chris Conway came to him. Fitzpatrick been allowed to carry it a long way and nobody was closing him down. Parkinson and Keane again. It'll be some fun watching these two battle for possession all the way through this game. Parkinson on top that time, but Westmeath have it. Gary Dolan. Remember, they took the lead in the match. Glennon again is the target. Mangan and Dolan ahead of him. It's played in towards Des Dolan. Dolan with Fennelly behind him, and the referee will
This will be a hop. Yep.
yeah, throw it in to sort that out.
But a very important aspect there of the last Meath offensive was the block by Darren Rooney. It's okay blocking any particular player, but when you see him blocking Desi Dolan, that's a great lift for Laois.
Well, Paul Conway, one of the players who, or is he? One of the two midfielders. Noel Garvin wins it for Laois. Joe Higgins getting the perfect pace and distance on that. Fitzpatrick has seen a lot of it. So is this man, Ian Fitzgerald from Portlaoise towards Bina McDonald. Bina out in front of Damien Healy. Ross Munnelly there, and they just made it a little bit too complicated that time. Healy plays it out for Westmeath. Fergal Wilson, Westmeath's only scorer. We thought at this stage that man would have got a point or two. 10 minutes in, Dolan. Oh dear, well, it's fallen kindly for Westmeath. Here's Paul Conway, such an experienced performer, but he can't find the target, and that's not a good sign for Westmeath, working hard to make the chance, and You fancied him to put it over.
It wasn't a difficult one, Dara. Not only that, he had a corner man inside him. If he just looked up another bit, he could have developed a right good chance for Westmeath. But swinging them over from the exclusion zone there, you've got to be putting them points over. For a team like Westmeath that are coming in as underdogs, you know, you've got to be getting those ones.
David O'Shaughnessy and Clancy battling for that. Donald O'Donoghue, look how far forward he is. Almost scored a goal in the match against Dublin. Joe Higgins. No foul, it's Dennis Glennon now, and Higgins has stayed down. He's badly hurt his back, it seems. Alan Mangan from an almost impossible angle, and he could do nothing with it. And Joe Higgins is still rolling around on the ground, and the physio now on to treat him. Pádraig Clancy, Noel Garvin. Claimed for Westmeath by James Davitt. Paul Conway. Oh dear, Conway kicking it straight to Pádraig Clancy. Westmeath need to settle pretty quickly because Laois are at them again. Noel Garvin. This time it's Bina MacDonald is furthest forward. MacDonald has Parkinson outside, well blocked down by Damien Healy, but it might still come for Chris Conway. Well taken, the Laois captain. It seemed to have broken down, but Conway on hand to convert, and 4 of the 6 Laois forwards who started have now scored.
Yeah, and then, you know, when you see a great block there by Damien Healy, and then it just comes, lovely break, and off he goes, and it's a lovely point. Chris Conway all the way over the bar. They're heartbreakers.
Pressure from the likes of Shane Cook on the Laois bench on Chris Conway, the Laois captain, and Joe Higgins has recovered.
Yeah, that was an interesting injury, because he's certainly, he's definitely pulled back there. I mean, and he's clipped him as well, and then a knee into the back. Nothing sinister about it in any way, Dara, but I mean, he's certainly a free out, and McEnany usually pops those ones and gets them, but there you go.
Again, great distance from Gary Connaughton, but it's Laois who are winning the lion's share of it in the air at midfield. The referee has spotted a push. Laois have a free and a chance to increase their lead. It's developing nicely for them.
It is, it's a 4-1 lead, and that's a very good call by Pat McEnany. Now, we've just been given off about him there a second ago. The ball just goes in the air, and essentially the Westmeath player turns and runs straight at the boy that's going to catch it, and it had to be a free in.
Ross Munnelly for Laois. Got a point already, that was from play. He is usually extremely reliable from this sort of range. Munnelly hasn't caught it. Well claimed by Gary Connaughton. Well, Munnelly will be extremely disappointed. 2 attempts from place balls, and he's missed them both. Laois still coming. Here's Kevin Fitzpatrick. Really has done well for Laois. Lots of air on that, but it's gone wide. That's their 3rd. They lead 4-1. They could, or perhaps should be further in front.
Well, here's the Munnelly kick. I was reading during the week actually that Ross felt he struggles from 45 on, and he didn't even bother stealing a metre. I think he might have done a 1 or 2.
Westmeath need to spend some time down here. Alan Mangan coming in and getting away from Joe Higgins. Dennis Glennon, they need this to go over. It has. And for all Laois's good football, Westmeath are only 2 points behind, and really they haven't played at all well, but that's well taken by Glennon.
Yeah, it's a lovely inside pass by number 13, Alan Mangan. And Glennon is good at this, and Westmeath needed that. And now at 4-2, you know, they're creeping back into it. I would say Laois have missed a few scores that Micko will be annoyed about, because further possession, it's still only a 2-point game, and Westmeath I still feel haven't fully settled.
That was their first score in 13 minutes. Noel Garvin. Ross Munnelly. That's Michael Ennis with him, and Munnelly goes by him very easily, but Ennis is a pacey player. Munnelly trying for another one from play. He's got it. That is a really good score from Ross Munnelly, having another sensational year for Laois.
Yeah, he did all this on his own there. This is on the wrong side for a kid dog. and he's soloing fairly hard, and that's a difficult angle, and that's a fantastic point.
And just when Westmeath had got their second point from Glennon, they respond, Laois. Let's bring in Tony O'Donoghue, who's down on the sideline. Tony.
15 minutes in, Dara, and Tommaso Flora just had a word with Rory O'Connell. We'll be seeing him coming into the game very shortly indeed.
OK, Tony, well, perhaps earlier than expected, but he will have a big impact on these proceedings. Won an all-star for them in 2001, was in the High Court this week to get a temporary injunction to earn the right to play, and he'll be on very shortly for Westmeath. They're 3 points behind on the attack with Fergal Wilson. Look at O'Donoghue staying forward. O'Donoghue, the fullback. And maybe that's why.
Yeah, that's not a clever shot selection. Just going back to the Rory O'Connell issue, Darragh, we spoke about this earlier on. You know, for a guy, for a management, for a county, for a team to put in so much effort to secure his release through the High Court injunction, I never figured why they didn't then start him if he's as good as they say he is, and he is a very fine player. They are struggling seriously at midfield. There's no question about that. Gary Dolan and David O'Shaughnessy aren't holding their own by any means, and obviously we're going to see him very shortly.
Well, the boost and the noise when he comes on amongst the Westmeath fans will probably rival that of the Tyrone supporters when Peter Canavan came on here yesterday. Dennis Glennon foul. Colin Byrne the guilty party. That's what happened.
Yeah, well, he's lucky enough to get that one. There wasn't a whole lot of contact.
Well, can they make something of it? It's Desi Dolan who's going to have a go. 116 in the 2004 championship he scored. This to move to within 2. It's going to hang, and it's ultimately going to go wide.
Yeah, they're two really bad Westmeath wides now. You know, Donald O'Donoghue's, you know, just lashing at a ball coming down on the wing, and then Desi hanging that one fairly wide as well. No, long distance out. You imagine that it can develop something with a little pop and take it off, maybe work the free in a bit closer, maybe work an overlap, get a handier shot on the goal. But that sort of wastage does nothing for a team.
And they know their side haven't performed so far in this game to their potential. Rory O'Connell will hope to try and change that. Well plucked out of the sky by Noel Garvin. Here's Colin Parkinson, seems to have discarded the sleeves on the shirt. Torrick Clancy had a real lash at that. We mentioned earlier he does score spectacular points, but when they go wrong, they're spectacular in their own way. That's their 4th wide to Westmeath's 3. Garvin again, but it's taken off him by Paul Conway. Free to Westmeath. Just 2 points they've managed in the opening 18 or so minutes. David O'Shaughnessy, Colin Byrne, Brian Morley closing him down, and then Paul McDonald is in there for Laois. Morley still trying to win possession back. McDonald gets it away, but it's with Damien Healy now. Healy to Brian Morley. Dennis Glennon again. Byrne giving him an awful lot of space, but well, what's going to happen with this? It's another wide, and scoring from there would have been one of the scores of the championship from Glennon, perhaps a little inexperienced.
Yeah, but you see, shooting from there, Darragh, is really the question. What was he playing at, shooting from that position?
Now here we go. Rory O'Connell sent off here all those weeks ago in the match against Offaly. Westmeath really, well, we know they've kicked a lot of wides. 2 from 8 chances. They're going to take off Gary Dolan. He's going to be replaced by Rory O'Connell. The change can't happen just now. The ball in play. Joe Higgins out in front of Alan Mangan. Mangan hasn't seen a lot of it. Higgins inadvertently played it back into the path of Wilson. Now Alan Mangan gets by Torrick Clancy. Mangan having closed down Rooney. Did he foul him? Well, the referee says no. Possession, and the restart will be for Laois. And here comes O'Connell, who has trained consistently with the team since his suspension was handed down.
This looks that's a good hit by Darren Rooney in the first instance. Here's O'Connell on now. Can he lift them? And Dolan is off.
Disappointing for Dolan, but Westmeath do need something pretty dramatic to happen. There he is. Rooney with the line ball. Fitzgerald left it behind him. Fergal Wilson. Dennis Glennon moving from one side to the other. Alan Mangan is through the middle, and Byrne just hasn't got the pace to cope with Glennon. Glennon's still going. Point. Could so easily have been a goal. They're back to within 2.
Yeah, and I mean, you've identified the problem. It's a problem of pace. You cannot mark pace. He gets inside his man. That's a couple of times he's gone inside Colin Byrne. He had an option maybe right if he wanted to bring. We watch it here now in the replay. You can see number 13 moving in very nicely, and Alan Mangan gets that ball. He's got a chance, but it's a good score for Westmeath.
2 points for Glennon in this Leinster final. David O'Shaughnessy and Pádraig Clancy battling for that. Tom Kelly getting to know Paul Conway a little too well.
In fact, you couldn't see Mick O'Leave and Colin Byrne on that mismatch with Dennis Glynn in terms of pace for much longer.
Here's Joe Higgins. Higgins at the moment picking up Alan Mangan. Darren Rooney. Chris Conway. Bina MacDonald in a race for this with Damien Healy. MacDonald has it. That's a brilliant take from Bina MacDonald. Healy got a block to it. Donald O'Donoghue. Just signs perhaps that Westmeath are growing in confidence. Des Dolan has lots of options ahead of him. They're all a bit narrow at the moment. Here comes Rory O'Connell. Can he make a dramatic impact? Well, the answer is no. Just ran out of space and ran into Joe Higgins, more importantly. Higgins fouled on the way out. Free to leash.
Well, that's what we mean when we talk about match fitness. Rory hasn't been in this sort of atmosphere, this sort of speed, this sort of tempo in a match, and he just got confused with matters.
Michael Lawler is coming in for Laois, and the player to go off is Ian Fitzgerald. We had thought there would have been an alteration in the full back line involving Colin Byrne, but they've decided that Ian Fitzgerald isn't doing it at the minute. And Mick Lawler, such an experienced campaigner, not a bad replacement and substitute to be able to bring in. Here's Colin Parkinson. Very little danger of him being replaced unless he's injured. He's been fouled. John Keane bringing him down here.
No question of it. He just wrapped him around, turned around, and you know, I find that such lazy tackling on big days where every point is so crucial. You give an opportunity to a free taker, you know, from 35, 40 metres.
Well, the crucial thing from a Westmeath point of view is that John Keane has actually been booked by Pat McEnany, the referee, and for a cornerback who's marking a player who is going to cause problems during the course of the day, yellow card at this early stage is not good news.
Yeah, a point very well made. We've spoken about it before. Like a marquee player like Parkinson and MacDonald, these fellas, you can't be near them. You can't afford to give yellow against them.
Now MacDonald hasn't found the range out of the hands, and it was David O'Shaughnessy doing the catching. Darren Rooney coming up very strong, and Fergal Wilson fouled. Free to Westmeath, who haven't played to their potential. Laois have had some really good moments and opened very well, but they only lead by 2. Rory O'Connell. Alan Mangan got a fist to that. Colin Byrne. Des Dolan making it awkward for him. Joe Higgins surrounded. Free out.
I noticed, you know, in these rucks, we've spoken about them all season. McEnany is very fast once the ruck develops to call it and usually get the benefit of the doubt to the ball holder, which is fair enough. It's not a particular part of the game I like to see, but Westmeath feel hard done by. They're not quite convinced they're fouling there.
As Pádraig Clancy. David O'Shaughnessy almost pulled the shirt off him.
Yeah, now Westmeath actually, well, he is pulling, there's no question about that. But the Westmeath crowd, I think that Pat now has been tough on them, but no question about it there, I can assure you.
Kerry have certainly turned that around against Limerick after an indifferent start, and David O'Shaughnessy just feeling the effects of his fall after he fouled Pádraig Clancy. Just under 10 minutes to go. And the marking very poor on Colin Parkinson. John Keane giving him a lot of room. Will he be punished? But he managed to dispossess it. Got in tight, waited for his moment, and that's really good defending from John Keane. Here's Brian Morley. Morley taking on Paul McDonald. Again, there's lots of movement ahead of him. Derek Heaven, chance for him to get forward. Here's Rory O'Connell. Aidan Fennelly coming out to him. Here's Des Dolan. Hasn't scored so far in this Leinster final. Rory O'Connell. Glennon has got 2. Glennon goes around Byrne. They'll have to switch it. Glennon has put that wide. Lots of height on it. Very little accuracy. It remains a 2-point match.
Yeah, and it's tight. It's very, very tight. You know, there's some very poor wides from Westmeath. They'll be annoyed about that. Just want to go back at a little bit of play earlier on when Colin Parkinson had it. Now just watch this for fantastic hands. He's watching the ball the whole time, in with the hand immediately, perfect dispossession, and excellent tidy play by a cornerback. Excellent work by John Keane.
Fergal Byron. O'Connell went flying after it, pushed. Garvin was hoping to send Laois going forward. Westmeath have the free. Damien Healy is charging up here in this near side. O'Shaughnessy hasn't seen him. Instead he's gone for Fergal Wilson, but Darren Rooney was right beside him. Rooney claiming it for Laois. Paul McDonald drilling it forward. Rory O'Connell. Donal O'Donoghue again. Just look at how far forward the full back is. Here's the full forward, Dennis Glennon. See, will he get past Byrne this time? Byrne holding him up, not getting a challenge in. Alan Mangan with Tom Kelly, who's been quiet enough, and Kelly fouling Alan Mangan. A chance for Dolan to narrow the gap. Is there a card as well for Tom Kelly?
No, he's happy enough with the tick on this occasion.
Now this afternoon, courtesy of Bank of Ireland, we're offering you the chance to win 2 premium tickets to any one of this year's football quarter-finals and overnight accommodation at Dublin. To be in with a chance of winning, simply call the number at the bottom of your screen with the number in the county of your man of the match selection. Details will be given in the Sunday game tonight. Here's Dolan for Westmeath. There'll have to be a lot of curl on that for it to work. It's going to drop short. Again, well claimed by Pádraig Clancy. Anytime he goes up for the ball, he seems to claim it.
He did, yeah, but I mean, Brian Morley just didn't contest that ball. I mean, these are crucial balls, every one of them. Okay, Desi should have, had a much better go for the point, but when the ball was still alive, Brian Morley made no effort to go in after Clancy and at least put in a contest and try and make that ball live somewhere around the big square.
3 out of 12 scoring chances really is a poor return at this level in a Leinster football final. Westmeath's first in 55 years. Laois know what it's about from last year's win against Kildare. Kevin Fitzpatrick, Ian Fitzgerald, remember, taken off. Rory O'Connell is on for Westmeath. Here's Pádraig Clancy. Ross Munnelly getting in behind Michael Ennis. Parkinson is there in support. It's now with Colin Parkinson. Keane standing off him. Munnelly, they wait for the moment, but that isn't going to be it. Gary Connaughton easily taking it, and Munnelly is down injured. And worryingly for Laois, as we follow Rory O'Connell, Munnelly is down on the ground and really isn't moving very much at all. Looks to be very badly hurt. The left shoulder may be the problem. We follow the play with Paul Conway. Hail Mary pass up towards Dennis Glennon. Glennon with Byrne, and Byrne is fouling him there, free in. They can't leave it much longer with Byrne and Glennon together.
Well, I'm amazed. I'm amazed that that switch hasn't been made yet. Let's just see what happens here. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a late tackle. James Davitt has come across him. The referee doesn't seem to be too interested in it, but it was a big hit.
Well, Byrne actually has been booked for that latest foul on Dennis Glennon.
Well, surely that's, a nod as good as a wink to a blind man. I mean, he's now on the yellow. Now he's under real pressure.
Now Wilson put one over from a little bit further out, but suits the left-footed kicker, looking for his second point, and he's got it. It's certainly not the best game we've seen in the championship so far, but it holds the attention, and there's only 1 point between Laois and Westmeath, and Munnelly could be in real trouble. I fear he is.
Yeah, he was off balance. When he's taking it, he's not looking for the hit because he's concentrating on the ball. And James Davitt came across very strong, and he's not the biggest fella in the world, Ross Munley. Super little player all the same, and he's taking a big wallop.
Well, they're working hard on him down there. Dr. Aidan Hansen and Aidan McFall, the physio.
Here we go again, Dara. He's concentrating. Here it comes. Now, maybe David is committed to try and get in a block. I'm not sure. It's hard to make a decision on that one there, I have to say. You know, I don't think the linesman certainly wasn't too concerned, neither was the referee, and we'll give David the benefit of the doubt.
If they are going to, absolutely. Well, they may be bringing Shane Cook in anyway. Now, I don't know if that's to replace Ross Munnelly if he's not fit enough. No, they're just going to make the change anyway. Cook from St Mary's, a player who's been around a while, around in Colin Brown's time. He will be on shortly wearing number 18. So Micko, like Paddy, not afraid to use the bench even at this early stage of the Leinster final. Here's Fergal Wilson. Momentum again with Westmeath. Here's Derek Even. He loves to get forward, has had a good season so far. Chance for Fergal Wilson, looking for one from play, taken by Fergal Byron. Mick Lawler has hardly been involved since coming on. Alan Mangan would love to get on the score sheet. Byron working for it. Dolan is there too. That was brilliantly played by Fergal Byron. Eyes on the ball all the time. Dolan was close to it.
Yeah, Desi Dolan was sniffing there to see was there anything loose, anything handy going to happen, but Fergal Byron's done very, very well. That's a very good interception.
Now, we've been talking about it. Colin Byrne is going off the Laois team. Shane Cook is going to come in, and they're going to shuffle things around. Cook normally plays as a forward. Byrne with the yellow card. We follow Westmeath. O'Donoghue into Des Dolan. They're just a point behind. That's a free, and they're going to be level any second. Aidan Fennelly that time fouling it.
Yeah, this is good stuff from Westmeath now. They've got the full back out of the equation. They know that Glennon has gone well. Desi hasn't gone missing on them. He's drawn another free. We're going to be level with 32 minutes gone. This is just what Paddy would want.
After a very ordinary start for Westmeath, Laois really tore into them. Desi Dolan sends it over, and we're level at Croke Park as we head towards half-time. 4-1 the Laois lead was at one stage, then they were 5-2 ahead, now it's 5 apiece.
And Westmeath are well into the game now. They've settled for sure. Rory O'Connell, even though he hasn't been on the ball that much, has obviously inspired them to up the ante everywhere. And you'd have to say Laois are not playing particularly well. That's the big concern for Mick O'Dwyer.
It most certainly is. 5 points apiece in the 2004 Leinster Senior Football Final. A crown that Westmeath have never won. Aidan Fennelly. Kevin Fitzpatrick now. Bino MacDonald. Damien Healy making it difficult for him. Here's Darren Rooney. Conway back there, and Westmeath, as you can really see, are into the pace of this game, and they're dictating the pace of it at the moment. Here's David O'Shaughnessy to Alan Mangan. Glennon makes a move again. It's Tom Kelly who seems to be picking up Glennon now. O'Shaughnessy. Has he the confidence to have a go? Glennon has had a go and it hasn't been good. Here's Dolan to give Westmeath the lead. Hangs an awful long time and he's done it. And Westmeath lead for the second time in this final. But of what a crucial time now. We're almost at the break. Westmeath are going well, Kevin.
Oh yeah, and this is possibly the point of the game. A lovely exchange of hand passes and movement, and they get it into the hands of the right man. Desi Dolan executes beautifully, and that's the lead score for Westmeath.
All week they've been trying to keep the players away from talk of history and of making history, but hard for them to think this is anything other than a football match. It's such an occasion for them. 3 additional minutes at the end of a first half which has come to life quite well. Damien Healy got a hand to it. Here's Parkinson. Bino MacDonald has Munnelly inside. MacDonald has put it over. That's a very fine point. Didn't seem to hit it with any great power. Bino MacDonald, that's his second point, and a really
Yeah, and the correct response, the one they needed, and no better man than Bino. Yeah, he didn't hit it too hard, but when these fellas, they know what they're doing. Lovely little floater over the bar to level it up.
That's Laois's first point in some 20 minutes. More danger for Westmeath. Here's Chris Conway, the captain. That's very high. It's going to be a tight call. It's been signalled wide by the umpire. They only get one look at it. I have to say I'd like to look at that again. Well, this was the chance from Chris Conway. Really impossible to tell from there, but it's been signalled wide. That's all that matters at this stage. Paul Conway to Des Dolan. He's got a lot of space from Fennelly in towards Glennon. Could Glennon score? Great goalkeeping. Byron read it perfectly and got out and beat Glennon to it. But Westmeath, the half-time break may come at the wrong time for them because they're really getting into their stride up there. Here come Laois again. Parkinson with the flick. Oh dear, that's Shane Cook, who's not on the park that long, had a real swipe at it, and that's wide number 6.
Well, it's, we've said it a few times, this final is really
as you would expect.
Perfectly balanced.
Playing additional time at the end of the first half. Bino McDonald swinging back Laois's way now. Justin Westmeath hit the front. Oh dear, Darren Rooney. A bad error straight to Damien Healy. Rory O'Connell drills it forward. It's too high for Dolan. Joe Higgins. Paul McDonald. Now Torrig Clancy. Shane Cook had that bad wide just seconds ago. Out in front of Donald O'Donoghue. Parkinson is out in front of Keane. He's been booked already. Referee saw nothing wrong with the challenge. David O'Shaughnessy. Brian Morley. And there is the whistle for half-time. 6 points apiece after Laois really tore into Westmeath in the early stages. Paddy O'Shea is out on the park rallying his troops. They've brought Rory O'Connell in. Laois have had their own troubles at full-back, where Dennis Glennon really gave him some serious difficulties, but it's delicately poised at half-time. 6 points apiece. There is the scene here at Croke Park and the half-time situation. As we join Tony O'Donoghue down on the sideline.
And I'm first joined by Jack Cooney of Westmeath. Jack will be very pleased with the first half performance from Westmeath, I'm sure.
Well, I think it's 6 points all. I think we're very lucky to be going in now on equal footing. We weathered the storm early on, and Laois kicked a few chances wide that we were just very, very lucky. I think we started winning a few breaks around the middle of the field, or the middle section of the first half. Kind of get into it a wee bit more, but our forwards as a unit are playing very poorly. We really need to pick it up there.
You played your get out of jail card very early. Rory O'Connell came on just around 20 minutes in.
Yeah, he did. We were just probably struggling to get a lot of breaking ball there around the middle of the field. We're just competing a bit better there now, but it's very, very tight. Laois have finished the first half very, very well, and probably should be a couple of points ahead,
Declan O'Loughlin joins me as well. Declan, you were 4 points to 1 up at one stage, so to be a level game at this stage should be disappointing, I'd expect.
Yeah, we were playing very well. We were playing the type of football that we've come used to over the last 18 months. Very fluent, but fair play to Westmeath. They came back at us, and we always knew they were going to come back at us. We always knew Rory O'Connell was going to come on after 20 or 25 minutes if they were in trouble in midfield. And it's a level at the moment, and I suppose Jack said it, we're both happy enough to be level. We've a good 35 minutes in the second half, and it's going to be hell for leather, and we knew it always has been. Underage, under 21 and senior, there hasn't been a kick of a ball in it, and there won't be at the end.
It's anybody's game. Back to you, Michael. Thanks very much.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It is indeed going to be hell for leather in the second half, and I have to tell you, there's a great atmosphere at Croke Park for this game today. Enjoyed by us, enjoyed by our two panellists, Colin O'Rourke and Joe Brolly. The football hasn't been fantastic, but the atmosphere is incredible, and the tension is mighty, as they say.
Oh yeah, I think it's a right old game. You know, the two sides are getting stuck into one another. Okay, there's plenty of mistakes. There's been a few bad wives by both teams, but phenomenal effort. You know, and it's just been, to me, a very, very enjoyable first half. And the tighter it gets, the more it suits Westmeath, because, you know, there's a tradition between these lads at underage level, and Westmeath normally have got the better of Laois. So, you know, if Laois or Westmeath are able to hang in on this sort of basis up until the last 10 minutes, Laois are going to get seriously worried.
They were nervous at the beginning of the match, not understandable, or not without reason, obviously, you understand that. But as they've gone into it, as Colin have said, they've grown in confidence, and they probably would like to have the game to have gone on for another 5 minutes there.
Oh yeah, and there's a whiff of upset in there, definitely. I mean, Kildare started, Laois started very well in the face of ferocious Westmeath resistance, what we've come to expect, and Laois played some lovely football in the face of that. But gradually, and I'm sure you can't see it in the television the way we can see it here, the Westmeath defenders are starting to dominate their men very aggressively. I mean, you can see them, they're in their jerseys, they're playing very tigerishly. And I mean, for example, Healy on Beano, I mean, he has been a revelation. I mean, John Keane is completely on top of Parkinson, so anything that's going into Parkinson's basically comes straight back out again. And you know, they're playing with this terrific pride and this sense of anarchy. And I mean, it's looking very, very dangerous indeed for Laois at the moment. The only problem with Westmeath is their shooting has been very wayward.
Not great. They need to improve that. We have another break coming up. Back after that with more on this Leinster Football Final here at Croke Park.
The Bank of Ireland Football Championship.
When you win, nothing hurts. Come on, get. This is Essential Kit. Keeps top athletes going 33% longer. Fact. The Bank of Ireland Football Championship.
Yeah, great atmosphere here, as I said, at Croke Park. The sun is shining. We have a great game of football on our hands, and it's level at half-time as well. We were talking before the break about how Laois had started off. I mean, they are the Leinster champions. They got in their groove early on, and they had a bit of a swagger about them, and Westmeath were struggling a small bit.
Yeah, and they kicked 5 beautiful scores from play in the first 15 minutes. But since that, they went 20 minutes then to get their next score. And I think another key thing in this game is the Westmeath defence haven't given away one really close-in scoreable free. Laois have had to get all their scores from play. The Westmeath defenders, as Joe was saying, are beginning to get on top of the men. Keane and Parkinson especially. I think the two of them were in minute together, and Parkinson, I don't think, liked the idea of having Keane in his boots all day, and it's come to pass. Parkinson has been a non-event, and of course Ross Munley hasn't had the impact on the game probably that we thought. But on the other side then, I couldn't understand why Lennon or Colin Byrne was left on Glennon so long, you would expect that they'd have put Joe Higgins on him. He's a man with pace, and Glennon has pace. So, Micko, I think a bit slow there, changing a man who's in serious trouble.
I suppose, yeah, but as I said, when you started off the game and they ran up into a 4-1 lead, they were looking good at that stage, and they played and they took some nice points.
Yeah, well, Westmeath just responded the way they did against Dublin when Dublin had the whirlwind start against them. They just put their shoulder to the wheel, and you could see it going through the team. There's no sense of nerves, and they refuse. One of the hallmarks of these boys all year has been a refusal to accept defeat, and a refusal to accept the sort of tags that have been placed on them. And this was a terrific score, but it's an example of how hard. It wasn't that Westmeath's tackling wasn't very good at that stage. It was just that their defenders hadn't sort of started to exert that psychological dominance over their men that they're doing. Laois were having to work extremely hard for their scores. That was a terrific score, but the balance of the game has changed.
It has changed. When they were ahead at that stage, Westmeath were creating a few chances, they were missing a few things. You were wondering where they're going to be like Galway yesterday, who had goal chances presented to them and didn't take them. And there was one, Glennon got one chance, he got a point out of it, but this could have been a goal.
Yeah, well, Desi Dolan was having a right stinker for the first 25 minutes, and in fair play to Dennis Glennon, he took up a full back in serious trouble. He had been in trouble from early on. He should have stuck that one in the net.
Definitely.
Bournemouth had been outpaced from the first ball that went in, and Glennon has taken over the mantle there when Dolan was struggling badly. And I thought that Laois were very slow, actually, not making a change there, because at that time Glennon was the only Westmeath forward who was causing problems.
In fairness to Desi, he had a few bad efforts at frees and that kind of thing, but he got a point from play that shows he's at least willing to have a go at it.
Look, Desi has been under a lot of pressure after his 3 performances to date, and in years past his confidence has withered on the big occasion, and in the first 30 minutes today it really looked as if that was going to happen. He came out to kick a 60-yard free, which was a hopeless effort, and that's a sure sign of a forward who's lost his confidence. And there are signs in the last 5 minutes. He kicked a nice point from play, and he got an easy free which settled his nerves a bit, and he now looks a bit more confident. He was doing things in the first half, like he was soloing the ball, he was bouncing the ball away from himself, all signs of nerves.
Yeah, but he won't hide. He won't hide.
I know he won't hide, but
he'll still come out and take on the game, which is a good sign.
I agree with that, but the point that I'm on is that Desi needs to be playing well for them to push through and win this game. As it is thus far, they've held Laois, they've done terribly well, they've started to create doubts in Laois minds, but to take advantage of that they need to go to the next level, because you won't win a Leinster final just on that alone. You need to put on the scores, and Desi's the man who can decorate the performance.
Just to confirm for the viewers, by the way, that in the Munster Football Final replay, Kerry have just about edged it against Limerick. They won 3-10 to 2-9. That's a 1-point win for Kerry in that replay. You can see that game tonight on the Sunday game. It's the Leinster Football Final. We're concentrating on second half after the break.
Limerick, you're a lady.
The Bank of Ireland Football Championship.
The taxman's taken all my dough.
Funny how we wait all year for it to get hot, just so as we can cool down again. Bulmer's original cider. Time dedicated to you.
Powerade has the Liquidate system, an optimum sports formula for fast delivery of energy and rapid rehydration. Official sports drink of the 2004 Olympic Games. Powerade, essential sports kit.
Check out these hot offers at Aramount. This Metro 3-seater for $679, the 2-seater only $499, or the Metro chair $319, or take away the 3+1+1 for $12.99. Aramount Furniture, probably the best furniture in Ireland.
Nobody beats the Stars GAA team, with former Clare manager the legendary Ger Loughnane and All-Ireland football winner Martin McHugh, along with Damien Lawler, Peter Sweeney and Carl O'Kane. For the best coverage of the Hurling and Football Championships, don't miss 70 minutes every Monday. Only in the Star is Far and Star.
By the banks of my own lovely Lee.
The Bank of Ireland Football Championship.
Yeah, by the way, my maths teacher in St. Charles College in Tuam told me that if I passed maths in the leaving, he'd hang himself, and I did actually manage to get through it, but still no good at maths. 3-10 to 2-9, of course, Kerry winning that. That's a 4-point win, not a 1-point win. Thank you for all of your advice, lads. You're very good indeed on that. Can Westmeath push on from here?
Well, I think that the game now is coming down to what suits Westmeath perfectly. It's a sort of a war of attrition which has developed for the last 10 or 15 minutes. They may not have the same classy individual players in some parts of the field that Laois have, but Westmeath have this sort of dogged resistance, and they'll keep going and grind down a lot of teams. Now, I'd say Mick O'Dwyer would be very happy to get his team into the dressing room, because he'll be saying to a lot of these fellas, you know, you need to up the tempo here and stop doing stupid things. You had Pádraig Clancy and Noel Garvin came through with good ball, right down the middle, about 50 yards out, and ballooned them wide. You know, stupid sort of stuff, you know, instead of pushing on and giving the ball to the forwards. That's what they are there for. But like the likes of Bino, Ross Munley and Colin Parkinson are very much under control at this stage by the Westmeath backs, and unless they up the tempo of their forward play, Westmeath could shock them.
Laois are playing into that Hill 16 redevelopment at the moment. White posts against a greyish kind of background. It's not the easiest to see, so it won't become easier to score down there.
We were talking about that earlier, and people might say, oh, you know, that's only talk on television. There's no doubt about it. A forward at a glance must be able to see the post. White against grey or white, very difficult to pick out. The only thing about it is that whatever slight breeze is probably in Laois's favour at this stage, and I still would fancy them to win.
Yeah, I mean, Miko's got to be saying to them in the dressing room, lads, we haven't played particularly well. This is not taken away from Westmeath, but we're still in the game. It's a level game at the moment. If they pull themselves together, they can get control of this thing.
They can, you know, it's very much in the balance. But Westmeath have, I mean, they'd be delighted at half-time. Paddy will know that doubts have now been sown. It's a different sort of game. I mean, Laois came out obviously with a plan to hit the ground running and to try and blow them away very quickly, and it hasn't worked. In fact, Westmeath ought to have been about 4 points ahead at half-time. The big problem for Westmeath has been the fact that it's such a struggle for them to get a score, notwithstanding the fact that they've dominated possession in the last 15 minutes of the first half. They've struggled to score, which is where Desi Dolan needs to step up. The full forward is absolutely skinning his man. Glennon is skinning him, but he looks like a naive, sort of inexperienced player, and he's taken the wrong option time after time. I mean, he's kicked, he's certainly kicked 3 or 4 wides and balls into the keeper's hands.
He kicked a dreadful wide from out in the right corner, you know, a ball that you shouldn't be going for.
And there are goals there.
Yeah.
He can get a goal, there's no doubt, because every time he goes past the full-back, he's through.
Yeah.
Burns lacking in pace, and there's no particular cover coming in. The Westmeath boys are working so hard all over the field that there's plenty of space for a man.
They are working very hard, but as Joe said, they're working very hard all around the field. They get up into the attack and they start running down cul-de-sacs, then that can frustrate the other lads on the team.
Yeah, well, it's happening a bit on both sides. You know, when you get to half time with only 6 points each on the board, you'd say both sets of backs
everybody isn't flowing.
Yeah, well, I suppose it is a bit like that. Defenders are a bit on top, except for 1 or 2 players who are able to shake on. The only thing about it, I suppose, Laois have kicked their 6 points from play, which shows that they're probably better at kicking points, but that the Westmeath defence is very disciplined in their tackling. But it's very much up for grabs. You know, you wouldn't rush out now and stick $5,000 on any team at half time.
No.
It's that sort of game there. It could go anyway. And Westmeath have been very good in the second half of most games.
You might do it if you were allowed after about 6 or 7 minutes of the second half, because in games as tight as it, I always feel the first couple of scores after half time can set the trend for the second half.
Well, that's right. And if Laois went out and went 2 or 3 points behind, say in the first 7 or 8 minutes, then that'll be the greatest test of Westmeath's mettle. Every game they've played thus far, they've had a test of their mettle, and unlike previous years where they've fallen away, they've met the test head on, and it will be very, very interesting to see if it comes down to it with 10 minutes to go and they're ahead by a point or two.
Laois were in a similar sort of game against Meath. You know, it was nip and tuck for the whole first half. I think it went to 8 points each at one time in that game, and then the next thing Laois started surging forward. There's no need to insult me.
But
kicking a
man. That was a very pedestrian game compared to the one we're seeing here.
Westmeath did something similar now, you know, against Dublin. against
Yeah,
Offaly.
yes.
You know, it was nip and tuck up until the middle of the second half. And this sort of iron will that has gripped Westmeath, and whether Paddy has put it into them or I think it's, an accumulation of failures over time has steeled these fellas. But whatever it is, they tend to finish strongly.
If they could get a goal halfway through the second half, then you would really see whether or not they're going to pull through. Because
Desi Jordan would be playing to every god that's available in any religion, that it doesn't come down to a level game with the kick of the ball at the end.
Well, it hasn't been a good day so far for the Dolans, so, you wouldn't wish ill luck on Desi, because Desi is a great trier. He's a great trier. I think, the sign of a really good forward is when they're playing sting for the first 20 or 25 minutes, but then can hold the head, and when everything is going wrong about them, just keep going and get the winning point.
You suspect that if Desi does start to go on a wee bit of a spree, that Mr. Higgins will very quickly be transferred across, which might well dull his influence, because Higgins is playing very well today as well.
He is playing very well, and I think we've seen a lot of sensible refereeing too. It's been a very physical game.
Referee, yeah.
But everybody is trying to be as fair as possible. Referee, I think, is adding to that by letting the game flow.
Ready to go for the second half? Let's go back again to Kevin and to Darragh first, of course.
Michael, thank you. The two teams, as you can see, back out. We don't have any word of any further changes to the 15s for this second half. You'll know about both of these sides at underage level. Huge success. Westmeath beat Laois in a minor and under-21 Leinster final in 95 and 99. So many of the players out in front of you here today know about, success at underage level, but they also know about beating one another. And if you look at minor and under-21 over the years, from the mid to late 90s and even in 2000, Westmeath have had the upper hand over Laois. Paddy O'Shea issuing instructions. Kevin, how's this going to pan out now?
Well, I heard Colm saying you wouldn't rush out with $5,000 on either side, and he's absolutely right. I wouldn't rush out with £200 on any side. It's so evenly balanced. We're just going to have to see with the first 15 or 20 minutes how it pans out.
Torrey Clancy launching it forward. Parkinson deceived by the bounce, but here's an opportunity laid back by Cook for Mick Lawler, who did very little when coming on. Oh dear, bad wide from Michael Lawler. That's their 7th in total.
Yeah, and a bad start for Laois, because Mick Lawler will be disappointed with that. We haven't seen a lot of him, but Mick is a very experienced player and a very good player as well, and he will be disappointed with a miss.
Clancy and O'Connell both went for it. Here's Paul Conway. Lifts it forward. Tom Kelly out in front of Dennis Glennon. We haven't been able to say that about too many of the Laois defenders, particularly when Colin Byrne was on. Munnelly allowed to carry it a long way. Here's Torrey Clancy. Clancy cutting back in, running into Heaven. He's still in possession. Colin Parkinson. Bina McDonald on the left boot. Oh, that seemed to be going wide, but there's somebody, and that somebody is Michael Lawler, is inside in the square. 3 out.
Yeah, and it's Ross Munnelly is down again, but before people start upping the noise level here, Ross has actually jumped into them. You don't particularly see it in that particular clip, but absolutely nothing untoward. Just good defending, but a poor execution again by Laois. Now, the game is back on now 2-3 minutes, and already they've spurned 2 nice opportunities.
Made such a good start in the first half, Laois, but Westmeath came back at them very strongly. David O'Shaughnessy. Paul Conway. Alan Mangan is his target. Mangan couldn't hang on to it. He got out in front of Higgins, which was the difficult bit, but then left the ball after him. Here's Darren Rooney. Laois have a player down injured. We follow Torrey Clancy. Mick Lawler. Lawler to Colin Parkinson. Laois playing on, the physio's on to administer the treatment. Lawler drilling it in. Derek Heaven is with Chris Conway. Free in, certain point on the way. And is there a card for Derek Heaven for the trip?
No, he's just going to be happy enough to give the free in, and it certainly was a free in. There's no question about that. He just used his right foot to hook him back, and he's given away a soft 13-metre penalty. Ross Munnelly is down again, Darragh. I didn't see anything off the play. He's been struggling. He's got a lot of hits in this match for one reason or another. Most of them legitimate, I have to say, but he's taking a lot of punishment for a small guy, and it's beginning to show.
John Keane is also receiving treatment just over beside Shane Cook, and he's back to his feet. Munnelly really looks unhappy at the minute. Keane is fit to continue, and Cook is going to take over the free-taking duties from Munnelly, who's still receiving treatment. Here's what happened.
Yeah, he's just fallen over. I think he's done a bit of damage to his ankle. Yeah, there he is. He's just a bit of movement in his left ankle, and they're trying to get him right. He should be able to run that off.
Here's Shane Cook to put Laois in front again. Never really any doubt about it. His first point of the Leinster final, and actually the first Laois point to come from a free.
And Ross Munnelly is back up on his feet, I'm glad to say. Moving a little bit gingerly, but he's still in the game.
But for how long? Laois getting the first point of this second half. Rory O'Connell, he is back. Well taken, and then foul by Garvin. Brian Morley taking the free. Fergal Wilson. Des Dolan. Joe Higgins gives him a yard or two. Dolan has Wilson behind. Did Wilson play that on the ground? Got the foot in underneath. Damien Healy. Great run. Absolutely lost it in contact, and Mick Lawler clears it forward. Munnelly seems to be moving a little bit better now. Here's Parkinson. He's moving well, gets away from Keane. Healy challenges him. Parkinson out to Pádraig Clancy. Munnelly went looking for it. Clancy went for the spectacular again. It's another wide.
Just look at Mick O'Dwyer. He's down underneath the hair, Darry's, and they're turning back to a selectors with a face on him that if he could get Pádraig Clancy now, he'd kill him.
Probably just as well. There's about 70 metres between them. But that wide tally growing all the time, up to 8 now. Will they regret those come the end of this Leinster final? Derek Heaven. Oh, well taken by Tom Kelly. He's marking Dennis Glennon and doing quite well on the Westmeath full forward. Chris Conway. Munnelly is going well at the minute. That's Michael Ennis in front of him, and Munnelly decides to take him on. No foul. Gets back to his feet. James Davitt for Westmeath. Well, they did that very well. Munnelly is still down on the ground. I don't think he's injured, he's just frustrated. Here's Paul Conway. He's seen a lot of possession in the second half, but didn't use it at all well. Joe Higgins sweeping up. Pádraig Clancy. Shane Cook. Darren Rooney is moving forward. Parkinson is close to him. Now this is in for Rooney. Forced a bit wide, and Fergal Wilson has gone back with him. Here's Mick Lawler. Lawler trying to get back inside. Davitt with him. Damien Healy there. It broke loose, and it's Michael Ennis who takes it away for Westmeath. Half a chance there.
Oh, that was a good chance. I was just trying to pick up, was it Brian McDonald, who never seemed to attack the ball. Or, no, it's not Bino. We'll pick him up later. Ross Munnelly is still in big trouble, Dara.
Kevin Fitzpatrick. Shane Cook. Bino McDonald. Rory O'Connell working very hard. Noel Garvin now takes it on. McDonald again. Westmeath, they seem to have upped the work rate and everything. Oh, well taken by John Keane. Well, we've two super left cornerbacks on show, Keane and Joe Higgins. Keane did really well here.
Did superb. We're going to have a look back at the Mick Lawler coming in along the baseline here, and he does very well. Watch the way he pushes it between the two of them, Dara, here. Lovely pop, but Shane Cook never really attacked it. He was looking more for the hits. It was a good chance.
It's Laois by a point. Colin Parkinson around John Keane has support from Ross Munnelly. He scored 2 points. He's been troubled by injury in this game, and he dropped that short again. That's happened several times in the match from Munnelly. Here's Rory O'Connell to Brian Morley. Westmeath yet to score in the second half. Fergal Wilson, Alan Mangan. Des Dolan out looking for it. Here's Dennis Glennon, he's got away from Kelly. That's not going to do it either for Westmeath. James Davitt, the bounce difficult for him. Damien Healy across. Mick Lawler. Healy has gone with it. Parkinson is inside. Healy again did well to get a hand in there. Lawler keeps it going. Looks for options. He's going to go for the point. Mick Lawler, wow. What a fantastic score. Healy appeared to have held him up. He knows all about big occasions. And Lawler has stretched the lead.
Mick Lawler's just, I've always been a big fan of Mick Lawler's down the years. Hadn't been going so well for him so far, but he's a very clever footballer. He has left and right foot, he's lovely balance, and he kicks a lovely ball as well, and that's a fine score. Big problem for Westmeath up in the attacking zone is that they have no shape to their full forward line, and the balls have just been pumped towards Desi's Arizonio.
Broken down by Garvin. It's Chris Conway now. Kevin Fitzpatrick, there's a foul in there. Garvin's been hurt. Referee has it's Chris Conway who's been hurt indeed. Notebook out.
No, I think he's just going to tick Brian Morley. Pat McEnany wasn't happy with that last incident, but he's just ticked him, no more than that.
Conway missed most of last year's Leinster Championship success because of injury. Here he is attacking. Paul Clancy, nobody around him. Back into Conway. Great block from O'Donoghue. Well, Clancy had a chance to put the ball over. He was totally unmarked and elected to play it into Conway, who was always going to run into traffic.
He was, and once they did that option, the ball had to be flashed on a bit quicker because Laois actually had people lined up. But credit to O'Donoghue, who throws himself across this and makes a great block. We might be able to get a look at it later. It was a super effort by Donoghue. Certainly has stopped, at certain points.
Well, they may yet get one from this 45. Again, as you can see, Ross Munnelly not taking it. It's Conway who's going to have a go to try and stretch their lead to 3. We're 10 minutes into the second half. A little bit of a breeze getting up now. If anything, it's facing into Chris Conway. Couldn't put it over. And Gary Connaughton really trying to lift them. Laois now up to 9 on the wide score, 3 so far in the second half, and Westmeath are going to make a change, and it's Joe Fallon who's going to come in. Again, a very accomplished forward, and he's been in scoring form when he's come in for Westmeath in the Leinster Championship so far. They've got a free.
And Paddy has, fairness, 7th most part have got up the sideline and they've put the full forward line back into their correct positions in so much as they can, and say, look guys, play your spots for a few minutes, let's get a bit of shape back in it. So we haven't scored in the second half, we have to get moving, and if they do hold their positions, at least it gives them some sort of a base on which to build an attacking move.
Alan Mangan worked hard, but was well marshalled, and Joe Fallon from Athlone is in. Scored a good point against Dublin, and here's what happened to Derek Keevan. There are other options for the two managers here. Two men who shared 8 All-Irelands between 75 and 86 with Kerry. Fawdy then going on to win 2 as a manager of his native Kerry. Not even a year in the Westmeath job. They're 2 points behind. Here's Joe Fallon. Talk about impact subs, if he can do it. No, he can't.
And he should have.
He really should have.
Got onto his nice side, cut in nicely, took out a few Laois players with some nice dummies and swung it. And Joe Fallon is well capable of getting them. I've seen him get those in the past, and Westmeath badly need a score now to settle themselves down in the second half and get the show going again.
They went 13 minutes without a score in the first half of this final. They're almost at the same stage of the second half, and they're yet to raise a white flag. Porrick Clancy, or indeed a green one. Here's Fergal Wilson, scrapping for the ball in there. It was Played on the ground. Opportunity for Dolan. Des Dolan for Westmeath. They really need this to go over. And he's got it. A lot of pressure on Dolan, and again, for all the good football that Laois have played since we've resumed in this second half, they're only a point ahead, and the tighter and tighter it gets and later it gets, the more tension, the more pressure on the defending champions.
Yeah, and the lads are saying at half-time, and they're absolutely correct, that the longer Westmeath can keep this tight, get it down to the stretch, maybe 10-12 minutes from home, and then anything can happen. Small errors creep in, and, you know, a lucky bounce, and you can push on for home and win it.
Westmeath pushing on now. Paul Conway. Conway bursting through. Dolan is trying to get free. Here's Joe Fallon on the right boot. Oh wow, normally a left-footed kicker. Dolan, when he threw it up in the air, it looked a bit awkward, but the finish was superb. Level for a fourth time in this Leinster final.
Well, I said there, Darren, you know, that I've seen Joe Fallon swing them over with the left. I can assure you, I've never seen him swing them with the right. He just throws it up and has a big right curve at that. Has a lash at it, and over she goes, and now we have a level game again.
Westmeath turning things around in the space of a minute, and it's going with them now. Dennis Glennon got some space from Kelly. Again, the full forward line. Well, it's only Joe Fallon at the moment. Glennon still going. He's got a free in Dolan territory, and this could be a very significant point if Dolan can put it over.
This is a massive one, Dara. Now this is going to give them the lead and a bit of belief they might need. And Dolan has just put one out from further out and a little bit more difficult. This is a big one for him.
2 from 4 attempts for Westmeath's place kicker. And he loves it. Hadn't even gone over the bar and he was running away from it. Dolan knew the moment he struck it that it was sailing over, and what is on for Westmeath here? A long way to go, and for Páidí O'Shea. 15 minutes into the second half, Westmeath, who've never won the Leinster title before, are leading Laois by 9-8. Chris Conway. 4 points for Dolan. 3 from frees. Careless. That was Parkinson getting in there, and Michael Ennis. Ross Munnelly, and here comes Colin Parkinson. Parkinson been closed down. O'Shaughnessy got him, but it's a free in.
I think that's a big call by Pat McEnany. The Westmeath lads won't be happy with that for sure. Cullum had ran out of ideas. He's now down with an ankle injury, actually. We'll just have a look at it here again on the slow-mo. Maybe I've been hard on him. I don't think so. I don't think so. It's a big call, and it's gone the way of Laois.
Well, the referee was close by, and it was O'Connell who was adjudged to have fouled Colin Parkinson, who is back to his feet, but looking a little uncomfortable at the moment. Bina McDonald, you saw a shot of him just checking on the time situation. They must be stunned that, well, having started the second half well, Westmeath are now leading. That lead should be wiped out in a second or two by McDonald. Look at it once more. I suppose the hand on the back was what McEnany was looking at from O'Connell. And
yeah, possibly, but you know, they're nice ones to get. I'll put it that way, Dara.
2 points Bina McDonald has scored, both from play. Never any doubt about that. Still pressure, but he was up to it. And we're level again for the 5th time.
It's a real good contest, and you have to admire at least the way they're coming back to it and leveling it up. It's, you know, the tension is certainly building every minute that ticks by. These teams they're so well matched. It's a super contest, and the last 20 minutes are going to be action-packed.
Well, Ross Munnelly's Leinster final is over. It's Gary Kavanagh again, who pushed hard for a place in the starting 15 from Stradbally, who's come in. He wears number 23. Brian Morley. Rory O'Connell's going to take the free. There's good movement from Joe Fallon, but away from the post. Now he brings Michael Ennis in. Glennon is waiting inside. Lots of support in tight, and Fallon has found a gap and he's bursting through. Joe Fallon for Westmeath. Great point. What a difference he's made. 2 points in the space of a handful of minutes for Joe Fallon, and they lead again, 10-9.
Yeah, there's a great reply by Joe Fallon. He's a very direct runner when he gets on the ball. Under a lot of pressure, and he slices it with the outside of the left, and over she goes.
10-9. The situation, if we have a draw, the replay will be back here next Saturday. Laois and Westmeath want to finish it today, and Clancy, well, it's going to still be in play. Gary Connaughton, well taken, sun in his eyes, he's got the cap on for the second half. Joe Fallon and Joe Higgins, that's falling kindly for Joe Fallon. Playing very well, you wonder why he didn't start. Here's Dennis Glennon taking on Kelly. He's going to be hard to get by, but Glennon has got through for Westmeath. Takes his point. Westmeath going really well, and they lead by 2. Is this to be their day, finally?
Well, you know, once Glennon takes on a guy like that, he's big, strong and pacey, he's going to get by him. The questions are now being asked of Laois, and we're going to see what reply they have for us.
Westmeath appearing in only their 3rd Leinster Senior Football Final. The last one in 49 they lost to their great rivals Meath, who they've never beaten in the championship. Here's Darren Rooney for Laois, giving it plenty. That looks really good. It's gone over. That's a fantastic score.
Point.
Talk about lifting your team up. Rooney coming forward. He's improved so much in the last couple of years. This is brilliant.
This is a great score. Darren Rooney, their hurler and footballer, not noted for long range points, but what a time to hit a big one.
They know all about tension, these two, but this a very special occasion. Brilliant from Rory O'Connell. Another good take. Here's Des Dolan. I think we're set for a pretty special final 15 minutes. Dolan cutting back inside. He really likes it, and Glennon has put it over.
And he's allowing it. Pat McEnany is allowing it. He got in the square. Interesting to see, was he in it before, Dara?
Well, Glennon, I think, or Dolan, I think, thought he had sent this one over, but Glennon followed in.
I actually thought it was going over, and that it was silly for Glennon to go in after it. Well, it's up in the air a long time, so that always gives you a good chance to get into the small rectangle.
Last 2 points for Westmeath have come from Dennis Glennon. 4 points for Glennon, 4 for Des Dolan. Here comes Kevin Fitzpatrick of Laois, running straight into Donald Donoghue. One brick wall hitting the other, and the referee is giving a free to Laois and a certain point on the way.
Yeah, just again, I have to say, Dara, just about, because there's no question about it. Fitzpatrick drove into the cover that time. I think he was fouled just at the end of it, but these are points that Laois will look back on and say, God, they kept us breathing at this stage. Handy enough ones.
Fergal Wilson off Shane Calleary, who scored an important goal against Wexford, is on. Bina MacDonald has got another free for Laois, and they're hanging in there, staying within a point. Will it turn around again now? Will Laois be able to get the momentum going?
It's terrific stuff. I mean, there's a score now coming up every 2-3 minutes in this match, and one score is better than the other. And Westmeath are in a position they always wanted to be in.
Laois had to wait such a long time to win the Leinster title last year. They did it in some style, but their title on the line here against Westmeath, and Lawler has been fouled on the way towards the Westmeath goal. Shane Cook, I think, is going to have a go at this. He was fouled by James Davitt.
Big one here now too, Dara.
Shane Cook for Laois. Made good contact, and he's put it wide. Well, a lot of the crowd, the umpire was very slow to either signal it wide or put the flag up, but we were all
everybody around here thought it was over, and I thought it was over myself. But again, he's put it wide on his own side. He's broken a cardinal rule for free takers, And how crucial is that going to be?
Well, Munnelly would normally have a go at those for Laois, but he's gone off injured. Noel Garvin foul. Kevin Fitzpatrick with the free for Laois. Colin Parkinson, his shirt being pulled by John Keane. Parkinson still going, now he's fouled. Keane on the yellow card. Free in, and Parkinson furious that he didn't get a chance to have a go at Connaughton in the Westmeath goal.
Yeah, but the big thing is Keane is on a yellow. And it's going to be very interesting to see what Pat McEnany makes of this. And there's no question, that's a bookable offence. He's fallen him down to the ground, and Pat's let him away.
Off the ground this time from Cook. Hit with a lot of care, hit with accuracy, and the white flag has gone up, and we are level again. Are we meant to be back here next Saturday? Or will we have a winner? These two sides at minor level in '95 had a fantastic three-game saga in the Leinster Final, which Westmeath eventually won, but it was a real epic. They're going, one team gets in front, the other hauls them straight back. Rory O'Connell again, brilliant fielding. Garvin takes it from him, free to Westmeath.
Well, that's is that the third or fourth magnificent catch by Rory O'Connell? He's really giving it everything.
Joe Higgins managed to get a touch on that to deny Joe Fallon. Here come Laois, the reigning Leinster champions, with Gary Kavanagh. Derek Keevan in front of him, and Mick Lawler, a chance of a goal. He's got away from O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue got back at him strongly. Lawler is surrounded. Cook is in there. The referee has penalised the Laois man. It's a free out. He played the ball on the ground, had support from Cook, but for a moment, just a moment, it looked as if he was clean through.
Yeah, I can assure you the Laois crowd aren't happy with this either, but I think Pat McEnany is this one right. We'll get it later after this play stops.
Just can't take your eyes off this thing at the moment. Shane Calleary of Westmeath. Oh dear, perhaps not up to the pace of the game yet, Calleary. Here's Bino MacDonald, faced with David O'Shaughnessy. Free in. Appeared to be Gary Kavanagh, who was fouled by Michael Ennis.
Here we are on the last one now. Mick Lawler's got it. He's getting into a good position. Good tackle there by Donal O'Donoghue. That's okay. He's still outside the box. Yeah, I think Mick is just doing a bit of light scrummaging there. Pat McEnany got that one right.
Going to try and work something with Gary Kavanagh. Colin Parkinson, and that's fallen kindly for Westmeath. Shane Calleary. 12 points apiece. Des Dolan. Oh, it's got through to Paul Conway. Can they get their noses in front again? Conway closed down by Rooney. The chance still there for Dennis Glennon. He's put it over. Westmeath lead again. 5 points for Dennis Glennon. 13 points to 12. The tension here is just something to witness.
Well, I can tell you from a Westmeath perspective, that's an excellent tackle on Paul Conway, because you don't want Paul shooting with that sort of pressure. He got it to the right man, and Glennon is having a fantastic football match here for Westmeath.
A fantastic talent. First year on the panel for Dennis Glennon, and he scores 5 points so far in the Leinster Final.
All from play.
All from play, indeed. The Laois response. Here's Gary Kavanagh. That's a Westmeath ball. Little things at this late stage can mean so much to Laois and to Westmeath. That going Westmeath's way.
Good tackling, yeah, he's got over the... Well, I don't know, that ball go over the line. Okay, he has a point.
Michael Ennis with the line ball. Here's Derek Heaven jinking through. Heaven doing really well for Westmeath. Glennon wants it played forward. Challenged by Fitzpatrick. Here's Des Dolan to give them a cushion. Oh dear, that's a crucial wide at this crucial time of the match. 7 wides in all for Westmeath. Only 2 in the second half, but they really need to go over now. Still a 1-point game. Clancy went for it. Here's Rory O'Connell. Hasn't played since early May when they beat Offaly by a point. Still trained with the team and still doing well. Here's Joe Fallon. Got 2 points since coming on. Donal O'Donoghue, look at the fullback here. It's gone to O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue challenged by Conway. Now he's got it in to Brian Morley. Oh, Westmeath kicking this away. I know they still lead by a point.
Oh, they're shocking wides now at this stage. The last two, Desi Dolan and that one there from Brian Morley, just can't be afford. They can't afford those sort of misses. They're awfully important at this stage.
Fergal, Byron, Garvin and O'Connell. Their battle continues. Here comes Paul McDonald to Pádraig Clancy. Parkinson in there. Parkinson got a hand to it. Here's Shane Cook. O'Donoghue is with them. Somehow O'Donoghue again manages to win back possession for Westmeath. The fullback really doing so well for them. Here's Brian Morley. Morley not giving Glennon much of a chance there. Tom Kelly. Kelly been hassled. Look at Dolan working so hard. Aidan Fennelly. Tom Kelly. Joe Higgins, the all-star from last year, fouled on the way out. That was Shane Cleary who collided with him.
Yeah, this was high, there's no question about that. Yeah, he's going to give him a yellow for it. Shane Cleary's going to get a yellow for that, no more than that though.
Card has just been shown by Pat McEnany to Shane Cleary. David Mitchell is going to come in. He started against Wexford, normally a defender, but that day he was used as a forward and did very, very well. Derek Keevan of Westmeath. They lead by a point and they're still attacking. David O'Shaughnessy. Again, they're just probing into the corners, and the defender, who's Tom Kelly, always favourite to get to that. Will they regret it? Aidan Fennelly. That was a messy challenge from Joe Fallon, but the referee gives Laois the free, no more. Pádraig Clancy. All the way down to Bina McDonald. Damien Healy got a hand to it. Rory O'Connell.
Look at Glennon. Glennon's quite free for this one, Dara.
Glennon away from Kevin Fitzpatrick, who didn't really bother contesting that. That's Healy who plays it forward. Aidan Fennelly intercepting. It's tight, it's filled with tension, and it's Westmeath who lead by a point. Cook is inside, but there's Gary Kavanagh. That's a bad miss as well. Needed some support. Would have been a spectacular point from where he was, but Westmeath still lead.
Yeah, Gary Kavanagh, you know, he rushed that all together. He could have tried to play it for a bit better, but the last few minutes action, Dara, we've had two terrible wides from Westmeath and three turnovers when they were in great possession, great positions, and had a really good possession. And you know, they have to hold their composure if they're going to hold it. They're going to need another score to it. I don't see another single point being enough coming down to the final whistle. Hard to call it.
It most certainly is. And just to remind you about our Man of the Match competition, courtesy of Bank of Ireland, you have the chance to win 2 premium tickets to any one of this year's football quarter-finals and overnight accommodation in Dublin. To be in with a chance of winning the prize, call the number that's on the bottom of your screen with the number and the county of your Man of the Match selection. Details of the winners will be given in the Sunday game this evening. But who will be the winners of the 2004 Leinster Senior Football Final?
And a few of the last plays, Donald O'Donoghue has been outstanding for Westmeath, getting a hand in where he had no right to put in a hand, and yet he just wanted that ball so badly, wants his Leinster medal so badly that he's going to go that bit further, and that's what Westmeath are going to get from a lot more of their players in these final few minutes. Laois are still going to keep at it. They're not champions for nothing. They have been excellent champions, and they won't give up that crown easily.
They most certainly will not. Fermanagh, Wicklow and Westmeath. Before today, the 3 counties who've never won a provincial senior title. Can Westmeath get their name off that list, or will Laois put together back-to-back Leinster crowns? They're a point behind, and that clock in the top left-hand corner of your screen ticking away, and Westmeath have a free out, and from here they'll be in no rush to do absolutely anything.
Yeah, Mick Lauder got a lot of the ball, but he did use his elbow, and referees don't like to see you leading in that way. Westmeath have got the free out. Mick Lauder is limping for his troubles, and as you say, the clock is ticking. We're at 67 and a half now at this stage. Oh, these last few minutes are going to feel like an eternity for Westmeath.
They most certainly are. Mick O'Dwyer with his success in Kerry, obviously his success with Kildare, and his success with Laois last year, they spoke of him as legendary, and his status, well, he could be joined in that bracket by Paddy O'Shea, a player and a man and a manager he knows so well. But what would happen in Westmeath if they were to win this Leinster title? And indeed there'll be great celebrations in Laois, but they know what it's like from last year. They're going to make another change. Our Laois, Paul Lawler, is going to be introduced. They're a point behind. Kevin Fitzpatrick with the free. Oh, crucially, Parkinson losing out to John Keane. Now here's Des Dolan. For once losing out in the scoring charts for Westmeath. He's got 4, Glennon has got 5. Here's Donal O'Donoghue again up from fullback. Oh dear, oh dear. That was a good opportunity for O'Donoghue to find people inside, and there were 4 or 5 players ahead of him.
Yeah, and then, like, it's all about composure. You know, I know the rope is beginning to tighten a bit for these players as they come within minutes of a historical day, but it's composure. That's what it's all about at this stage.
Michael Lawler is going off the Laois team. He's picked up an injury. Paul Lawler is replacing him.
Next couple of possessions, Darren, out everything.
Absolutely, we're in the last minute of normal time. Our Laois about to lose their Leinster crown. We're going to have 3 additional minutes at the end of what's been an enthralling Leinster final. Surely will be 1 or 2 more twists before it's over. Shane Cook of Laois. Look at Paddy O'Shea down there. Mick O'Dwyer is close to the action too. Here's Joe Higgins up from cornerback. Bina McDonald can't get to it. Rory O'Connell, that's a free in. Any mistakes at this stage will be punished severely, you feel, but not from this distance. Clancy needs some movement. He's got it from Lawler, and now inside to Darren Rooney. Rooney goes with the fist. Scored a great point already with the boot. Easy to say from up here, but Rooney had a chance to equalise. They might get another chance, but that was played on the ground by a Laois man. It was Lawler again, I think, who touched it. And we're going to have an injury stoppage as well. This was Rooney.
Yeah, and this is a good chance. Oh, it's just a poor execution. He tried to fist it over the bar. Not quite sure why he didn't kick it over the bar from that distance, and just put it straight into the Westmeath hands, the grateful Westmeath hands.
3 additional minutes to be played here at Croke Park. Will we have an outright winner, or will we be coming back here next Saturday for the replay? It's been a really entertaining and enthralling match for the neutrals, for both sets of supporters here. Really hard to watch. Rory O'Connell goes flying after it. Paul Conway, it's blocked down by Paul McDonald. David Mitchell is in there for Westmeath. O'Shaughnessy, they fouled McDonald. Laois will know how much time they've got to get an equaliser, and they'd probably grab a draw off you at this late stage. Will they do it? They've got options here. Chris Conway, the captain, has equalised. The Leinster champions are back on terms again. That's his second point, Chris Conway.
And he won't score a more crucial one unless he gets the winner here today, because they have been struggling.
And crucially, Westmeath haven't scored since the 26th minute. Level 7 times. That's Paul McDonald is down injured.
Dara, I didn't get the extra time, what they're on. 3 minutes, so 1 to go, and there's still another injury within that, so.
Well, another board has gone up that now says, well, it's for a substitution indeed. They're going to bring James Davidoff. And it's David Kilmartin who is coming in. Paul McDonald of Laois is back to his feet. Chris Conway is just out there getting words of encouragement and some advice from Mick O'Dwyer.
Yeah, I'd say Miko's going to stay out here for this possession himself. He's going to contest it, Dara, because this is the possession now from this kick out.
He's looking at the watch, it'll tell him we're almost at the end of the 3 additional minutes. Tony O'Shea and Mick O'Dwyer coming head to head with their respective counties. O'Dwyer came out on top in the 98 All-Ireland semi-final as Kildare beat Kerry. Westmeath were a point to the good here. Chris Conway has levelled it, and will we live to fight another day? Yes, we will. It's ended in a draw, a really titanic struggle, but we have to come back here next Saturday for the replay. We won't have a winner today. It's been a super game, really good stuff. They've played their part, the players have played their part.
Yeah, it's been a very honest match, very exciting. There's a small bit of an anticlimax because we were all expecting another minute or two of play. Maybe Pat McNenny has done the right thing and just said, look, we'll come back again to it.
It's ended in a draw here. A fantastic Leinster Football Final. We have to come back next Saturday. Laois 13 points, Westmeath 13 points. Now let's go down to the sideline and join Tony O'Donoghue.
Thanks, Dara. I'm with Ross Munnelly. Ross, an incredible finish to that game. I suppose you're lucky to be still in with a chance of winning the Leinster Final.
Absolutely, yeah. It's very tough going out there today, and you know, all credit to the lads in the second half. They really gave it 100%, and we're just delighted to be back here next Saturday. You know, our backs were to the wall in the second half there, but you know, as we've been saying all along, this Laois team plays best that way, and congratulations to the lads. They were superb there in the last 10 minutes.
A few minutes to go. It looked though as if it was Westmeath's title.
Yeah, well, this is it, you know, the game is never over until the final whistle is blown, and as our lads proved out there today, we fought all the way, we missed a couple of chances, but all credit, it's a team performance, and from number 1 to 15, and the 4 or 5 lads that came in again, absolutely outstanding stuff.
Will you be okay for next Saturday? I see your ankle is quite strapped there.
Well, I don't know about that. I got a bit of a knock in the second half there, and you know, that's the way it goes, and hopefully I'll be 100%, but if not, as you can see, we've loads of lads to come in and do the business, and you know, from 1 to 24 or 5, we're every bit as strong as anyone else, and we're looking forward to it now, and we'll get back down to earth and have a good go next Saturday.
Thanks for talking to us, Ross.
Well, that was exhilarating stuff, and I think at the end of the day, a draw was definitely the fairest result, because we'd all like to see a little bit more of that. You could see coming off the field that the players, they almost looked dejected, but they were just shattered.
Well, I would say that Westmeath were disappointed, because really Westmeath deserved to win the game today, and they really tore away Laois's self-belief and tested them to the core.
I said it to you towards the last couple of minutes, that looking around the field you could see Westmeath fellas, they were actually on their knees, they were down, they were winded, they had given it everything.
They'd given it everything, but I think, Michael, the same could be true of the Laois fellas. They were out on their feet as well. Like, you know, whatever superlatives you'd use for a Gaelic football match in terms of manliness and character and bravery and honesty, I think you'd use them all there today. You know, if you gave those players €1 million, they couldn't try harder. No. It was just absolutely fantastic stuff. I'm glad that it finished in a draw, because we have a chance to see it again. I wouldn't like to have seen either of those sides, because, you know, you say Westmeath were the braver men. Laois had to come back and fight back. I'm not saying that. I just think and you know, I think both sets of players, fair result. And hopefully the game next Saturday will be half as good, because it was tremendous enjoyment.
Well, half as good would be fantastic. I mean, this is the thing. Can you repeat that? Today was a special day here at Croke Park. The crowd, it was an electric atmosphere here. And really, I suppose, replay is often in a situation like this, it's more workman-like stuff that's going to win the game.
Well, Westmeath have got into a frame of mind that they would rather die than lose a game, and it's the way they've played all year. They've made up for any inadequacies in class with huge effort. I mean, they really crushed all the good Laois forwards. By the midway through the second half, it was hard to see where Laois would get the scores from. And when Westmeath went 2 points up, I mean, Fallon's introduction, I mean, Fallon just treated Higgins with no respect and tramped all over him, scored 2 points, set up 2 more. I mean, won every ball in front of him. And it was a big turning point. I thought at that stage that Westmeath would go on to win it, because Desi Dolan then had a partner in crime, and they kicked 2 or 3 scores. And Laois, in fairness, responded magnificently. Tom Kelly, going back to full-back, really secured them in there. Thought he was terrific today. And from unlikely sources, they kicked points that brought them back into it. None of their big stars were able to perform because they were held in a vice. But still, a terrific game. I feel disappointed for Westmeath though, because I really felt myself supporting them. The way they hurled themselves into it was exceptional.
It would be lovely to see Westmeath win a first provincial title, but it was such a battle of iron wills, both sides. And I think if you were making a video of good defensive play, I think you'd put a lot of Westmeath's defence into that. John Keane, I thought Donald O'Donoghue at full back was superb.
Brilliant,
he kicked a couple of silly wides when he came up the field, but his defensive play was fantastic. So people who say that Gaelic football is not possible to be played in a defensive spirit, yet creative in itself. I think if you saw there today, the defensive work by also Tom Kelly when he went back full back.
It wasn't blanket defence.
No, but you chose that
man
on man. You still can have powerful games.
Great, it's great.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to stop you there for a moment. We have to earn your fees for the day. We have to take a commercial break. See you shortly after that.
The Bank of Ireland Football Championship.
Really good stuff. Laois 13 points, Westmeath 13 points.
I suppose today any one of the two teams there today didn't deserve to win. It was a cracking game of football, and if any team had lost, I think it would be a big disappointment to them. But I think the extra game will certainly do us an amount of good. We had only two real championship games against Carlow and Meath, and a good game like that today, we badly needed it. We were a little bit rusty, but the one thing about it showed one thing, that we have fighting qualities in this team. At one stage there, with about 7 minutes to go, it looked like as we were out and gone out of the provincial championship. But they showed great fighting qualities and came back and took some great scores, and Chris got a great point in the finish there to really finish it off for us.
I suppose at the end of the day, it was a fair result, and the one aspect of the whole day's football that pleased me was it was really, really genuine football, and people didn't believe us during the week that Mick Dwyer and myself would serve up open, honest to goodness football, and I'd nearly say that any neutral supporter that was here today would say.
Jennen Formula Isotonic Club Energized Sport. Ahi dráitiú an golan níosta púla noisce. Squeal an Fuinnev.
Harvey Norman Superstore, Swords and Dundalk. Win all the way with the best price, range and service. Computers, electrical, furniture and bedding. Go Harvey Norman for laptops, PCs, printers and digital cameras. Go Harvey Norman for plasmas, hi-fi and kitchen appliances. Go Harvey Norman for leather and fabric lounge suites, dining sets, beds and linen. Harvey Norman for Ireland's newest and best range of furniture, bedding, electrical and computers. Harvey Norman will not be beaten for price, range or service. Go Harvey, go!